welcome to our workout today on the reformer. We are going to be targeting our core and also our posterior chain. So for a lot of core workouts, I have predominantly focused on just our abdominals, if you will, more in the front and on the sides. Today, I kind of want to more focus on our trunk. So we're going to be less focused on our extremities through the arms and legs and more focused on our trunk, but think of our core as 360 degrees all the way around, attaching to the spine. Essentially, that is what it is. So that's going to be our focus for today, and we are going to be using the box almost solely throughout the day. I don't want to fully commit to that because at the end I might throw in a few exercises not using the box, but that is, you want to make sure that you have that. I'm going to go ahead and walk around my machine now because I already have my box set up back here. So you are going to put it on the floor lengthwise next to your machine and a little bit farther towards your shoulder rests than towards the end of your carriage. We are going to start with no springs attached. That's where we're headed to, and that's all that I can think in order to kind of introduce our workout for today. Let's get moving. Okay, so I had springs on, so I'm just going to take mine off. And then once you take yours off, you want to come onto your knees on your box first. Obviously, that's a stable surface. It's not moving around. And then you're going to position yourself so that you're facing your carriage and your knees are underneath your hips and then your hands are underneath your shoulders. So make sure they're not inside of shoulders. Give yourself a good amount of space. Spread your fingers all the way nice and wide with your middle fingers facing forward. And here we go. Let's just breathe here in this position. I want you to, if you want to do a couple cat-cows by rounding through the spine and extending, we can do that. We'll do 2 more just so that you can feel where your long-reaching spine is in your 4-point kneeling. So you want to come into a neutral just between those. Keep the chest nice and broad and open. Keep your tail reaching for whatever's behind you, sit bones as well, and then pick up the ribs in your core underneath you. All right, we're going to swing the carriage left to right, and as we do that, notice that my shoulders are not moving with the arms. So I want to try and keep my shoulders in line with my hips behind me. What we don't want to do is this, okay? So you see how I'm starting to move my torso from left to right. I want to try and keep my upper body lined up with my lower body behind me. Trunk is very stable. Core is pulling in, and I'm just letting those arms swing like a pendulum on a clock from left to right. Good. Keep pulling those ribs up underneath you. We're only going to go 1 more time. And then come back center. Keep your left hand down. Reach your right arm to a T, or you can bring it behind the small of your back if you want. And now the left arm goes out to the left and then pulls right back underneath that shoulder or right in front of the left shoulder. So notice that for me, I'm not going that far out. This is quite strong. You should feel this in your core and you're really going to feel it sort of underneath this left armpit around the rib cage and then coming across in an X in the front of you down to the opposite side obliques. That's it. Careful that you don't have any shortening in your waistband behind you, so you want to make sure those hips don't try to twist as if you were like wagging your tail behind you. Let's go 2 more and 1 more. Good. You can sit back onto your heels, close your carriage, and you're going to load your carriage up with your very lightest spring. So for me, that's a yellow spring, but depending on your reformer, that could be different, okay? Same position again, squaring the shoulders up with the hips behind us, and then we're going to pendulum swing those arms from left to right. Now, obviously, going towards the right is going towards the closure of the carriage, which the spring is assisting in that. So you want to think of resisting that more. Yeah. That's it. Nice and still through the trunk. Let's take it for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Come all the way back where your hands are in line with your knees behind you. We go back to that one arm. Left arm's down, right arm's reaching. We press out for 6 and 5 and 4 and 3. Keep pulling your abdominal wall up and in for 2 and 1. Bring both hands down and carefully close your carriage and sit it back. This is like one of my favorite things right now. I was playing with my reformer a little while ago and kind of discovered this, and I just love it. You guys can pick up your box and come around to the other side. So I'm a really big fan of doing 4-point kneeling type abdominal work. It's so effective for just cinching everything in around the waistband without putting undue pressure on the abdominal wall, which is what planks can tend to do. So if you're postpartum, planks are generally sort of like a forbidden for a while is what I should say. So I'm going to change the angle of the camera. Okay, change the angle of the camera here so you guys can maybe have just a different viewpoint. We're going to go ahead and position ourselves. We're going to move through the same movements here. No springs attached. To start, spread your fingers nice and wide, and we're going to pendulum swing those arms from right to left, keeping the shoulders in line with the hips. Good. You want to pick up the tissue of your belly, so you're trying to sneak it away from the waistband of your leggings, but don't change the shape of your spine. So remember, your tail and sit bones are reaching back behind you. The crown of the head is reaching forward, as is the sternum and the heart reaching forward with a nice broad chest. Let's take it for 3 more swings, and 2, and 1 more. Bring your arms and shoulders square with the hips behind you. Say hi, Cashew. And then keep your right hand down and your left arm comes to a T. Just the right arm goes out and back under. Good. You make it small if you need to. Mine is not big. It's all about control here and keeping the shoulders in line with the hips. So it's not a huge movement. Good. 2 more here. We really want to feel your core working and stabilizing you. 1 more. Close and bring your left hand down. Hi. Reach back and go ahead and put on your lightest spring. All right. Come back into position with your hands in line with your knees behind you, and we're going to metronome those arms from right to left. Now that movement towards the left, you want to resist, right? Because the spring is going to close the carriage all on its own. So you want to make sure that you are resisting that and working in that direction as much as you're working in your push direction. Let's take it for 3 more swings, right to left. Good, keep those shoulders nice and still, so it's just the arms. 1 more time, and come back nice and square. Reach the left arm to a T, just the right arm presses out to the right and pulls back under for 6, and 5, and 4. This is really good for strengthening those muscles that stabilize your shoulder blade and help us to be strong in a plank as well as a push-up position. Good. Both hands come down. Close your carriage. All right, you guys, go ahead and grab your box, lift it up, and put it on top of your carriage in the long box position. So we're finished with it on the floor for now, and we're going to move to 1 medium spring. Now, if you prefer 1 heavy spring, this is going to be for tricep work as well as hamstring and glute work. Go ahead and add a heavy spring in place of your 1 medium spring. We're going to put the bar just to the bottom position. Don't take it down all the way, just put it to the bottom position. Go ahead and come up onto hands and knees. All right. Position those knees underneath your hips here, and then let's start with our left arm. That's my weaker arm, so I'm going to start with that one first. Go ahead and grab a hold of your strap. If you have hyperextended elbows, you're going to give a slight bend to your right elbow, which is stabilizing you. Fingers are down, and we're just going to pull that arm straight back to the hip and down and forward. I want you to really reach down before you reach back. That's going to help to set the shoulder blade to track as it should. Good. Nice and balanced here. Now you have an option to continue with the arm as is, or to add the extension of your right leg straight behind you. So make sure it's here and it's not rolled out. Hips are facing down, holding it there. We're going to sweep that arm down and back again for 4 more. And 3. And 2. Keep picking those ribs up underneath you, and 1. Hold it long back by your side. Bend the elbow and press the arm back straight. Now you can stay here and just work through this triceps press, or you can add a bend of the leg. So the heel kicks to the glute as the elbow bends, and the arm and leg straightens together for 6. And 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. Last one. Bring the knee down and bring the arm down. Go ahead and hang that strap up. Transition over to the other side, starting just with the right arm, pulling down and back, and down and forward. Continue to have a nice long spine here, reaching through the crown of your head and back through your tail and your sit bones. Good, and now if you are ready, you're going to add the extension of that back left leg, keeping it nice and straight, sweeping the arm down and back for 4, and 3, and 2, on 1. You hold it back there, just bend the elbow, coming into that triceps press. That's it. Good. Just establish your balance here before you add the bend of the leg if you so choose. Heel to glute and arm and leg straighten together. That's it. For 3 and 2 and 1. Knee comes down and then the hand can come down. Let's go ahead and keep this strap in this hand. You're going to reach back. You can sit onto your heels and get that strap onto your right foot. Hands come back forward, and then I'm going to let you come with your left knee to the center of your box right underneath you. Yeah, let's drop this right leg straight down next to your hip. I was going to choose a different rendition, but we'll start here with the legs straight. Again, nice and straight through your spine. We're going to sweep that leg up and back and down to the side. Now, don't let it come so far forward that it pulls your hip forward. So I see a lot of people come way over here, but then they're losing the shape of their spine, staying nice and long. So we're going to favor staying symmetrical as much as is possible in our very asymmetrical bodies. Okay, so think of your 2 sit bones constantly reaching straight back behind you, and if you had your hands there, you would feel an even pressure under or from both of them, right? So you wouldn't have more the left pushing into a hand than the right, if that makes sense. If that's a helpful visual, just to try and give a visual. As you pull this leg back up, it comes in line with the glute, okay, that it is part of and responsible for. Go for 3 and 2 and 1. Bend the knee, bring it down onto the box. Scoot your left knee back underneath the left hip. We're going to come down onto our elbows here. We're going to start with the knee bent, and then we're going to press the legs straight back. So I want you to focus on the press coming from the heel, as if you were trying to stand up on a really big step. That's it. We're going to go 5 more here. So working that posterior chain, working really what's in our trunk, those glute muscles that are responsible and helpful to having a healthy back, right? And healthy posture and gait. 1 more time. Bring your knee all the way in. You're going to come back up onto your hands and we're going to take it into circles. So you can stay on both hands or you can come onto the left forearm. Totally up to you. You're going to actually take your gaze, look back at your right toes, and we're gonna go sweep forward a little bit and then lift up and circle back. And sweep forward a little, lift up and circle back. That's it. We go for 4 in each direction. One more. And now we reverse, sweep back, circle out and down for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, bend your knee in and set it down. Keep the strap on the right foot. It's easiest that way to then strap your left foot, and then we'll take the right foot out. So that makes it just a little bit easier to get it back there, okay? So go ahead and hang that strap up, dropping your left leg straight down next to you. You can shift your right knee so it comes underneath the middle of you. A little bit to the left, stick your butt back, and here we go. Sweep that leg up and back in line with the glutes, and down and out to the side. I think we did 10 of these, so that's a rough estimate, but we'll repeat at least 10 on this side. Here we are at 4. And 3, focus on that breath, pull the ribs up and in. And, oh, I counted down, we're at 6, sorry. My count, 7, 3 more. And 8, and 9, just seeing if you're on your toes. And 1 more. Bend your knee all the way in, come down onto the box. Shift that right knee back underneath the right glute, or right hip. Come down onto your elbows. From a bent knee, we press straight back through that heel and bend the knee in. Good for 8. And 7. Try not to lift the outside of that right hip. For 6. And 5. I almost always count down. So the minute I decide I'll count up this time, I totally forget and I end up reversing the direction. 3 and 2 and 1. Bring the knee all the way back down to the box. So you choose whether you're on both hands or whether you're down on one forearm. Straighten your left leg all the way back. Look back at those toes. We're going to sweep down, circle up and back for 4. And 3. Want to feel this in your core too, not just the glutes. And 2. And 1. Reverse the circles for 1. And 2. And 3. And 4. Sweep it all the way up. Bring the knee back onto the box. And then reach back and take that strap off your foot. Good job, you guys. You can go ahead and hang it up. You're going to sit down. We're going to give our knees a break. Stay on that spring. If you are on a heavy spring for that, you can stay on that heavy spring for what we're doing next. It's called reverse abdominals. So for those of you who know it by name, we get these straps up and over our thighs. So slip the legs all the way through. That's it. And you want the clips to go like underneath your knees, which they'll get there when you go back. If you're more advanced, come to seated in the middle of your box. When you lay back, the mid back is going to be on this back edge and your whole upper body will be back there in that void. So that is going to increase the difficulty. If you are less advanced, you're going to simply sit forward at any increment that you want, and so that you have more or less support of the box behind you. Go ahead and scoop all the way back, lying your back down onto the box. Lift your knees up one at a time, pulling into those straps. Make sure that they're even and they're okay. You're going to connect your heels and open your knees to about shoulder width. Now you can hold onto your legs for right now, just getting yourself into position. Let's take the hands now behind the head. Elbows are wide. We're going to let that chest go all the way back as far as you can, wherever you've placed yourself. And then exhale, fold the ribs in the front and curl it forward for 6 and 5 and 4. That's it. and 3, pressing your low back down into the box. For 2, don't forget about that. And 1, I want you to hold it here. Keeping this diamond shape of the legs, you're going to lower the thighs down away from you and pick them back up. You go down as far as you want, as long as you can maintain the press of your low back against the box. So it's gonna look different for everyone, but the challenge is still there. Go for 2. You can bring your arms forward. Go for 1. That's it. Now, bring your arms all the way through the center. Here we go. We're little tiny pulses up for 6 and 5. Through the torso, legs are still for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Now the legs straighten away and the arms go back overhead. Then bend and reach through for 1. And 2, don't toss the head back. Keep it looking forward for 3 and 4. Here's our core work. And 5 and 6. Give yourself a little hug and just a little pause. One hand behind the head, one hand behind your legs. If you're ready to keep going into it, either keep going with the variation we just finished, okay? Or we're gonna go legs straight up and lower down and lift. Let's all get those legs straight up there. Now you can have legs straight, you can have legs in a turnout, or you can have a tiny little bend of the knees. You do whatever feels best maybe for your hip flexors, okay? Hands can go behind the head. This is more difficult for the lever. Hands can go here long by your sides, or you can go 1 and 1, whichever you prefer. We lower down and away, lift it up. Down and away, lift it up. We've got 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Bend the knees in, give yourself a little pull. We're going to go hands behind the head. The knees twist off towards the right elbow, and it's the knees that pull up, trying to lift the pelvis just an inch off of the box for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5, and 6. Add a lift of the chest off towards the left as the knees pull to the right for 6 more. And 5, 4, and 3, 2, and 1. Woo! Give yourself a little pause there if you want. I think these are, I feel like they never get easier for me, but I feel like doing them and teaching them at the same time is probably the most challenging, at least for me. All right, take a breath and bring yourself back into position. The knees pull off to the left elbow, just the knees, trying to lift that pelvis for 6 and 5, 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Add the chest lift off to the right as you pull for 6 and 5 and 4. You can lengthen an arm. 3, no judgment, and 2. Last one. Hold behind those legs. Go ahead and rock yourself up to seated. Sit up nice and tall. Give a little shake out. I know after that my spine wants to just kind of come tall after all that flexion, and then go ahead and take the straps off of your legs. All right, you can hang those up. And being with me, you guys, if you liked this workout, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you get a notification each time I upload a new video. Come over to my website at goneadventuring.com if you're interested in more full-length workouts or live classes each week. Join us. Let's do this together at any time from anywhere. I'll see you soon.